Okay, you know, was watching some YouTube videos, and there's a lot of preppers out there talking about security and what they're gonna do to protect themselves, and somebody comes in, this is what's gonna happen to them. This, shoot now, ask questions later type stuff, in comments. I believe there would be people shot and killed, but I don't think that'd be the majority of it. And some of these people sound like they're looking forward to it. They really have no idea what they're looking forward to. It wouldn't be some camping trip, right? It'd be pretty bad. Let's just say, you go on a camping trip, you and your girl. A camping trip, it's fun, you got sandwiches, or something, you can roast something over a campfire, hot dogs or something, whatever. Right? A couple cold beers, pack up and you go home. You go home, take a shower, flip on the lights, probably turn the air conditioner on, and it's over. That's not what it's going to be like. If things got really bad, like some of these people think, Mad Max style, there is no electricity. No electricity, there's no clean water. Right? So, imagine you're out there, look at Naked and Afraid. Right? You've got a man and a woman out there bathing in creek water. No soap, no razors, just out there and creek water. Right? Does that sound like fun? Being hungry all the time? Cold or, hot? Sunburn? Getting stuck, stuff stuck in your feet, your hands? Getting infections? Does that sound fun? Not being able to sleep? Getting stung by something? Getting bit by something? Losing limbs because you get bit by, a snake or something, or a spider? If you're lucky and don't die, that is. Does that sound like fun? There's a lot of, there's going to be people dying here, and that'd be, that we're talking about maybe not your immediate family. If you're a prepper, you probably are going to take care of them. Some preppers would die too, but you're talking about your friends. You're talking about distant relatives, people that live farther away, dying. A lot of them from drinking contaminated water, not knowing any better. Oh, that looks fine. Smells fine. Drink it and then, wind up dying from that later. And that's a very painful way to go. Right? Look at people with medical conditions. Do you have any friends or relatives, that need asthma inhalers? Do they need oxygen, heart medication? My uncle carries nitroglycerin in his coat. He's had a couple mild heart attacks. What about insulin for diabetes? If you're a prepper, are you ready for that? You better figure out some way you got to keep that cold or it's useless. Right? What about blood pressure medication? Some of this stuff, would be fine. I guess you can inhale, or you don't have to keep it cold, I don't think. But, I don't have any of these conditions. I don't know anybody that, except for the nitroglycerin, my uncle. But the rest, are you ready for that? I remember watching, I don't know if it was Doomsday Preppers or some show, but there's this guy with a wife and a daughter that had that take insulin, had diabetes. And they would use a needle once, and then they threw it in a coffee can, a clean coffee can, covered it up. And they said they did that every so often. That way they could use the better needles. They can go through them and use the better ones later. And I just thought, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? You're going to leave all that, you're going to leave these needles in a coffee can. All that moisture is going to build up in there. Whatever bacteria may be there is going to build up. And then you're going to inject that in your body when there's no medical services. Right? And I don't know anything about that. But I would imagine, I remember just watching the show, I'm like, why wouldn't you just, reuse the same needle the next day and put one clean one aside instead of using the dirty one, a bunch of dirty ones later that have been sitting there, right? mean, I assume, drug addicts, I assume they do that, right? Use the same one over and over. I don't think they go and, I can put money on that. I bet they don't do that. But then again, I don't know myself, so I'm not 100%, but I'm 99% sure, they use the same one over and over. So, like, why wouldn't these people, okay, fine, and I'm not advocating that if you, definitely buy them, but they said they were really hurting for money. So they just, used once, threw them in a coffee can, put the lid on, and then just, all that moisture and bacteria. I don't know. But there'd be a lot of people dying from that kind of stuff, people that are not good in health, maybe the elderly, because there's no medical services, nobody's around. So people dying from health reasons or drinking contaminated water, well, that would mean there's bodies around. If there's bodies, that means there's flies and rodents, right? And with that would come diseases. Right? So there you go. That'd be another. I mean, look at bubonic plague spread by rats, or not rats, but the lice, or what am I saying? The fleas that the lice, the fleas that the rats had, right? The rats were the carrier, but the fleas bit the infected rat, and they bit people and infected the people. And, that's how bubonic plague spread, with just unsanitary conditions. Now, you add dangerous changes in behavior from withdrawal from people you may know, family members, drug addicts, like I said, or people that are really hooked on cigarettes, kind of moody. All of a sudden they got to stop cold turkey and things are already, pretty stressful, or like alcoholics. Or even people that, are on medication, some sort of antipsychotics or something, man. How's that going to change all of a sudden? And then times are really rough. That could lead to some bad decisions, right? What about police that would go rogue? Stand together to get supplies for their own families and do whatever it takes to protect their families. Yeah, that's okay. But what about the ones that, decide to take? Look at Katrina. I said there's 5 cops that were convicted of murder. They shot some guy who was mentally handicapped, and they falsified evidence. You've got footage of those 2 police officers looting along with the looters, and somebody's like, "What are you doing?" And they just tell her to, tell them to get out of there. Like, get out of here, or I'm going to arrest you. And then you got the other cops that they took over a hotel and had all kinds of looted goods in there. That happens, In Argentina, you caught the police. Hey, look, these people were stealing my food. Well, the police got there, scared off, ordered off the thieves, and then they took your stuff instead. What about prisoners? Suppose they can't feed them, and it'd be, I don't know if they're going to just go in there and shoot them. I doubt that. But let's say the power goes out, and that's the last thing on people's minds. Well, the power goes out, that means that the electric fence goes down. Even if they're on a backup generator, eventually they're going to give out, and the electromagnetic lock on the cells are going to go out, so they're going to flood out unless they're shot, which, I don't think they'll be shot. I don't necessarily think they should be shot, just like that. I mean, you got a lot of innocent people, and, DNA tests prove that, a lot of people in there are innocent. And then you've got non-violent drug offenders. Somebody gets caught for having weed. I mean, he should not be shot because he was smoking weed and got locked up. Even if he's got a big ass amount of it. Hey, he ain't hurt nobody at all. If anything, just himself. But hell, I'm hurting myself right now. Look at this. This alcohol is basically poison. I have a beer every now and then, but I'm not hurting nobody but myself drinking this beer. But same thing. Non-violent offenders in prison. I don't think they're going to go in there and shoot them all. I mean, hopefully they think about that. We got the largest prison population in the world, so those guys are going to be out. And let's say the a lot of people were in there for non-violent offenses. Well, what about the ones that are in there for violent offenses? What about gangs, right? Trying to expand their territory. No law enforcement to keep them in check, right? They'll loot, they'll rape, they'll kill those in their way, and move on. And then there's going to be, if you're a prepper, there's going to be hordes of unprepared people. Desperate. Right? When hunger kicks in, you're not thinking clearly. You look into starvations around, and there's talk of cannibalism. Well, that happens when people go hungry. That's just the way it is. Everybody would have their point. I would hope that I wouldn't, but I've never been, in that situation. Starving to death. None of us have. But that's what happens, Does that sound like it's fun? Does that sound like something you want to go through? Anyway, it just blows my mind, how people think it's going to be a big old camping trip, really cool, But, man, your neighbors or something, people that you know now that you get along with, you chat with somebody at the grocery store, you go and you see them. Whole different person when starvation mode hits, right? And then, you think you're going to be safe in your house, you're cooking something, and somebody walking by smells that, and they're starving to death, and they're, if cannibalism happens when there's starvations, mass starvations, well, then you can bet they're going to come in your house and try to kill you for that food. And that's not something to look forward to. And these idiots leaving comments like, it's going to be a great time, you disagree with me, it's just shotgun to the face, or, this and that. Man, you pull the trigger, you're going to live with that. Right or wrong, you're going to know you took somebody's life. And that's going to haunt you. And let's say that, somebody else finds out. You just shot, their brother, their mom or something. You shot their dad. And he was just on his way to go get something. He was trying to go get something from an uncle or something. You killed him. Man, you better bet your ass, because that's what you're doing, that they're going to come back looking for vengeance. Right? You blow away somebody's family member just because, it's cool. You wanted to do it. He was on my land. I taught him. Yeah. Until they come back looking for vengeance. Right? And he got bullets coming the other way. Then it ain't so cool. So, I just, I get tired of seeing comments like that and, seeing videos like that. You have no idea what you're asking for. I don't want that shit. I don't want none of that. But I think it's going to happen, so I prepare for it. But it's the last thing I want to go through, right? You got your wife and your kids, and they're going to see that. And if you fail, well, then they're right behind you, and they're going to suffer whatever fate you do, and it's not going to be a good one. It ain't something to look forward to. And if you're on your own, well, I guess. You can, if you're one sicko out there that's looking forward to that, you'll change your tune after you're hungry and, the odds are not on your side. You're hungry. The only guys that got food, there's 20 of them and one of you, and they're better armed than you are. You'll change your tune to that. Anyway, that's it for me. Y'all have a good one.